All right. Hey guys. This will be day 7 of me posting every day for 100 days to get comfortable, to get okay with being vulnerable, to sharing my experiences, talking to like minded people, just opening up my circle. So, something that a lot of people has been asking me about that I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to try to do it today through Zoom so I can share my screen because it's hard to do. Like, I don't know. I'm new to YouTube, so all this is new to me. But I'm going to try to share my screen through Zoom and show you how I purchased my land. And the first thing I want to say is you have to prepare. Nothing's perfect. There's no perfect time. Don't wait for perfect because it's never going to happen if you do. But just if it's something that you've really been wanting to do, you desire it, do your research, do your due diligence, because it takes that. Nobody's gonna be your advocate like you are. That's what I had to learn. And I'm very sporadic and I do stuff at the drop of a dime, but I still did research and I make sure I don't lock myself into something too tight that I can't get out of. So make sure you think about that. But land isn't getting any cheaper. As a matter of fact, when I looked on these websites, it's getting more expensive than when I bought mine in February. So, and I started looking in December. So I initially started looking for raw desert land um, in December. I purchased in December. I went to go look at the property in January, I think. Um, had some, I looked at the property. And I was like, oh, it was a lot of red flags that I didn't like, and then it was some that I did like, and I had the USDA out there because they were gonna do my farm, give me my farm number and do the assessment. They met me out there, and they was like, oh, and they can't do this for everybody, but they were like, oh, this land, you got caliche 18 inches down, the soil's poor, it's dead, like, which I know because it's desert. That's most of the soil. That's how it's gonna be because you're in the desert. Duh. But they gave me a lot of information and insight about native bushes and when I'm looking at land, what to look for if I'm looking at it from an agricultural perspective in regards to USDA. And so that helped me look at stuff. And I was like, well, dang, this property might not have been the best property, but I was going to work with it because it was 60 acres and I think it was like 59,000 or so. So I was going to do it. And at the time that I brought mine, I brought it from Lone Star Investments. That's the name of the company I purchased my first one from. I and now they have a website. Back then they didn't have a website, but I'm gonna show you now how they have a website when it shows the land. And I'm gonna show you things to look for too and to notice about these websites. But all them people are the same. But I do say I would recommend going through a company like right now I'm with Sunset Ranches because to me that was the best. That's my number one. But to each his own. Um, but I would go with one of those 2 companies if you're looking for something. And there is another one someone told me about, but I don't know about that one, so I can't speak on it. I only know about Sunset Ranches and Lone Star Investments. And it's a company that's what they specialize in. Now I know people who brought land from one realtor, one single person that was just selling land off Zillow, and he bought it sight unseen. I wouldn't do that with a single person because I don't know if I could trust those people. And so he went and we met him at the GIS coordinator's office in town, and his land was landlocked. We went to go find it. You couldn't even find it. She said it ain't even a road that leads to his land. He can't even get his 911 address because he don't have a road. He has to go to court, file an appeal thing, or pay a permit price to get a road built, get an engineer to come out, build a road and draw it out, and then he could do it himself. But that sounds like thousands of dollars. So don't buy landlocked land. be careful. If you can see it first, then go see it. If you can't, that's okay. Hire somebody to do it. That's what I think I'm gonna start doing in the West Texas area, or maybe even places in Texas and in Arizona that are close to me. If it's worth my while, I might start, charging a fee and just doing it for people, because I've seen too many people out here get scammed and lose their money. And he paid for his outright cash. Maybe it was 20 acres for 6,000. And sometimes when stuff is that cheap, you have to question that. Like, but I don't know. I'm not him. I don't know what he was doing. So, but I do want to because now knowing what I know and how I was looking, because I was out at midnight, I went to look at the property in the rain after it snowed. I looked at it all times. So now I got a sense of how the neighborhoods are, how the people are in the neighborhoods. Some neighborhoods got some weirdos, some neighborhoods got old timers who don't want to be bothered. They just shooting their shotgun around, scaring people's animals. Some people are really, I think they call desert dwellers or desert lizards, where they out there for a reason. They don't want to be bothered. They don't like seeing neighbors. And I was watching Kathy's midlife on YouTube, and she said she had moved, her and her husband moved and got their property. And now she has a neighbor and she can see him. She can see the trash from the property. And I was like, man. And that's very common. That's probably going to happen to a lot of people because it's getting more popular, right? So more people are going to move closer. More people are coming in. It's not but so much land. It's nothing you can do. And the same as me, I own a property that's 20 acres at the top, and then it tees down. My bottom 20 is like the bottom of a T. So top 20 is that way, bottom part is that way, and it's separate by a little farm road. We call them farm roads because they're not county maintained, but the subdivision is what we calling it. Like you live in Quail Ranches, Sunset Acres, Silver Spur Ranches. Each one of those, like maybe 600-acre plots or something like that, has its own kind of subdivision, or at least on the plot map, that's what it's called. When I first was going to move there, I was going to live in Cornutus, and that was called Antelope Acres. And I think Antelope Acres has 1 and 2. So, and like I said, they all have their different things. Some ranches you go out there and it's just like nothing, dead. People living in RVs, a lot of trash, broken down vehicles, junk. You won't know that by looking at pictures on the website. Okay, you're going to buy land and you see a junk pile where it's 50 RVs broke down, or condemned houses. It's probably rattlesnake infested. You won't get those things just by looking at a website. So I'm definitely going to start helping people, seeing how I can add that into my business plan to help people look for property, because I travel a lot and I like to travel. So I don't mind going different places if it's worthwhile, because gas be gassing. Okay. So, yeah, just, it sounds good. All this cheap land, and the catches are, it says cheap. They say no down payment. All of them do. And that's true for the most part, except for they want you to pay your first month rent or mortgage. So it might be no down payment and the monthly payment is $299 a month, but they want you to pay your first month to get the bill of sale, or you get if you buy it, you get your deed, or you'll get paperwork to be able to take to the county office to get a 911 address. So you can get all of that while you're making payments. You don't have to pay the land off at first. The company that I bought my land with is Sunset Ranches. And like I said, different months, they have different things. They'll send me a bill that says, okay, if you pay 500 extra this month, you get extra 1,000 off your principal balance. So I take advantage of those extras. I always pay extra, right? Because usually for 20 acres, your payments will be like $299 a month. For 40, 50, 60 acres, usually they do 20 or 40 or 60. Your payments are like $5.99 a month might be the most, I think. So, and it depends what you get on your property. If you get a property with electricity on it, the payments are $5.99 a month for 20 acres. But prices are changing. This was back in December and February that I was looking, but it was $299 a month or $5.99 a month, depending on your property and how much land you got. No down payment. You sign the like a lien holder's deed or whatever, and that's proof that that's your land. They pay the taxes, where they pay it from the money you're paying them, which usually is about $100 a year for 20 acres because it's raw land. Now, once you start adding stuff to it, and of course, the county is going to start taxing you more once you like make a cement home foundation. So, a lot of us get away with a lot of stuff because sheds are like temporary; they're not cemented down. So I don't have any concreted down things to make it permanent because I don't want my taxes to change just yet. But if I do change my mind and finance a home, barn door or something where I need a concrete pad or foundation, then they'll probably come out do an assessment and your taxes gonna change. Um, Also, when people are getting when I got my land, I asked about the water because I knew there's no lights unless you get electricity on your property. And I've heard people who do have electricity that the light bill is high. Your light bill is like $300 a month. But it is what it is. It's Texas, it's in the desert. You're going to run more energy, and I'm sure they're charging you more to use it. So I knew I was going to go off grid. So I planned on having the power chargers and all of that supportable solar. I knew from Alwanza Offgrid that she got her solar set up from Arnold Fowler. He's on Facebook. And so that's the man when you want to do solar hookup. So I knew I was going to get that. And it is a big investment up front. But just think, now that I have my system paid for and it's done, I don't have an electric bill. Now, I might want to add to it and keep adding more batteries, of course, have more storage, and I want to extend it across different buildings and, add something else to my other 20 acres or add something to the rotational grazing spot that's 10 acres over there. So you have to add to it, but it's not a monthly payment. Okay, so let me see if I can share the screen here because I want to show you guys something. Mhm. I know this bug won't just on me like that. Oh, and of course it wants me to do all this crap. Um, I think I got it because I'm in Chrome. I shouldn't have did Chrome, maybe. Also, what I realized is doing this YouTube is that I don't have a lot of memory on my phone. 256 gigabytes ain't nothing. I purchased my land from a website called Sunset Ranches. And I learned a lot because I was going to go and buy land from a different company. They showed me the land, and then the land was they showed me the wrong land. So I had went out there, met the guy, had USDA out there telling me about the land and all that stuff. And it was the wrong land. I walked 60 acres out there by myself in January, marking stuff, drawing out. I was so excited where I'm gonna do this, what I'm gonna clear to get the shipper containers. And at that time, I thought I was gonna do shipper container home, which I might still do, but just not right now. I marked everything out. I paid somebody a deposit to come clear the land because it was all creosote. And so that's another thing. The USDA came out and they were like, "Yeah, this is, they did samples. The dirt, the soil was dead basically." And they told me the key to getting good soil in the desert, how it can happen. You can grow stuff, but you have to do these things. And that's for a different video. But um they said I had creosote at 16 inches, so you can't dig deeper than that easily because the creosote level was so high. And she showed me how to go to a website called, I think, WSS.com, and you type in your coordinates, and it'll tell you also what kind of dirt you have there. And I use that too as a resource. I'll try to find that on here. But I think that's what I want to start doing too, is helping other people move off grid. And because you need a set of eyes. What they show you on the websites is not showing you everything. They're not showing you the trash pile where people dump. They're not showing you is 5 old RVs and repoed sheds on the property that's junking it up next door. They're not showing you if you have a wash in the middle of it. They're just showing you these pictures, and all the companies are the same. Like, they do as much as they can, but it's a business, okay? So, I first went through Lone Star Investments, and that's who I was referred to by a friend. That's where she went with, and it seemed great at first, it was fine. I only got pissed off with them because they kept showing me land that I told them I didn't like, I didn't want, and they kept referring me to go look at more land, and I'm like, "I'm buying plane tickets out here. I can't do that." And they won't show you land until you put money down on it. So you come to the website, you find property or somebody tells you about it, you pay the money down, which usually it might be 0 down payment, but you gotta pay your first month's rent. So you pay the $299 down because usually it's $299 a month or $499 a month, depending on how much land you got, and depending on if you have, any kind of easements or whatever you have on your land, or if you have electricity, that'll be probably $499 a month. But as I'm talking about this, let me show you this website. So this is who I end up going with. I did buy 60 acres from Lone Star Ranches, but they give you like 90 days to return your money with no fees, because they know you're buying it sight unseen. If you see it and then you put the money down and you don't like it, you can't access it, whatever, you have 90 days to get your money back. It don't matter. 90 days. It don't matter if you put your house out there and like you can't get to it because it rained, it washed, it snowed. You say, I don't want it no more. They'll give you your money back. Okay, so here, this is who I end up finally going with, and they're great. It says land for sale. Ask how to save $3,000 or $9,000, and we can go over that later, but that's the number. So it starts off with the sold, and they're very popular. I will say a lot of good stuff about them as far as having land, but now it's like land is going so quick. They used to have like 5 or 6 properties on here. When I was looking in February, they had a mountain area. I was going to get it just for recreation, just to put my beehives in and maybe, off-roading and stuff with the four-wheelers or side-by-sides and stuff, the ATVs. It was mountain land. It was so cheap, and it would have been good for that. It had been on the listing, he said, for like a year. And then finally, when I started looking at it, somebody just brought it. I was like, dang. So they go quick. And so, of course, now I'm saying that they don't have anything, okay? Nothing. They don't have anything available. All their stuff is sold out. So if you see the different prices, see, this is 20 acres. Sale price 39,000, 39.9, monthly payment 299. So most of the 20 acres are 299. If you see something else, that's because it's either in a better location, it's closer to the highway or something. That's a little more. So that means it's something that stands out about that property that's a little different. And because I've been doing it more, I know where some of these are. Like it says Cornuda's Ranch. I know kind of where that is. And I know by looking at the tracks where some of these are. And I know like unit numbers. Like if mine was unit 402, I'll see another one in unit 402, and I might be looking out for that because I'll be like, okay, look for the same tract and stuff that I'm in because I might want to buy the land that's close to mine. So I keep an eye out on this to see if there's any land for sale that's close to me because I might want to try to buy it. Because again, I don't want any neighbors. I know I watched a video like um, Kathy's midlife. She has a neighbor that moved in. Like, there's nothing like going to buy land off grid, free, open 20 to whatever acres you got, and then boom, you could just come out the door and see a neighbor right there. That happened to at Awanza off grid too. I know she has two neighbors that's about to move where she can see. So you can no longer walk outside naked necessarily anymore in the daylight because you got a neighbor. Like that kind of sucks, but it happens. You just have to get privacy fencing or something, which costs money. But hey, so let's just click on one of these, even though all these are sold. Dang. So yeah, they have a lot of good quality land. But I will say that a lot of Sunset Ranches properties, they're hard to access. And I had saw one also that was another 60 acres. I went to it and I'll try to include the picture. And the wash was so bad, it was a car on the side to wash. And remind you, this was like in January or February when it snowed after the snow. So it was a lot of water when it melted. It just, the road was gone. So I knew I needed a property with access. Wasn't far off the highway because I have to be able to get to work and go to an airport. So I knew that. So I told the realtor for this company, don't put me more than 8 miles from the highway, or, I don't want to be way back off there somewhere. So let's see. And another thing about these companies, these pictures are not the exact property. They are not out there taking pictures of your exact plot. That's what I want to do for people. I want to go out there and scope it out and just kind of give people an insight because it's certain keys here. Like, look at this one. See that one? 20 acres. That's the price. $299 down. 40 acres is 59,000. Right? So either they're giving you a discount or it's probably far off because you got to pay $399 down payment, $895 down payment. That might be because it's 40 acres, but let's look at it. It says mountain foothill area. 4-wheel drive recommended. That's a sign. The road getting to the property is probably terrible. So unit 449, that might be in Quail Ranches. Let's see. Move this up here. Oh, no, I don't want to see myself. Oh my goodness. How did I do that? Get back. Okay. So if you look in here, if it wasn't sold, it'll say buy me or buy this property. You look at the pictures. It's not going to be the exact property. Okay. Those are just desert pictures. That's not it. It's not it. It says blah, 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 blah. Ask guys you can save money. Buy 20 acres, get another 20 acres for 25% off. Usually when it's something like this, it's because it's remote or they haven't been able to sell it. And if they haven't been able to sell it, it's a reason. It's probably access. Now, what's another thing is you look up Google Maps. So you click Google Maps. It will just give you the GPS coordinates. So this is what you need to go find it. And sometimes even in Google Maps, you cannot find it. So I study these maps like I don't know what to be able to know where I am. So I back out to zoom out and I see that this is Highway 10. So this is the main highway. Right here is the main highway. That property's way up in there. So if I back out some more, I know these are 2 pinpoints. So this is a main highway, and this is Highway 62. This is Cornudas. This is another kind of main road. There's no gas stations here. There's just a border patrol. And here we have a gas station here and in Van Horn. Boom, boom, gas stations or, you know, Hancock gas station, and then you go towards El Paso. So this property is here. It might not look far, but that's kind of far. So what I would do is do directions, and I would put what I know is in that area because I live there is a Valero gas station in Sierra Blanca. That's like the city town. You could put the water, you could put whatever, it don't matter. That just says gas station. Yeah, it ain't but one gas. It's 2 gas stations, but that's it. Okay. So you go from the gas station, you're gonna go off this road. It's telling you to Big Tank Road. So that's a sign. I know about Big Tank Road, and I know Big Tank Road access is usually terrible. But anyway, and I feel bad for the people that live on Big Tank Road, but I'm sure some great properties out there. But from what I saw, I knew I needed more access, or I needed to be closer off Big Tank. I can't be way back up in there off Big Tank because to me, that's too far back from my preference. Some people like seclusion, want to be way back there. They don't have to get out and go to work every day. They can stay on their property if it rains, snows, washes. They're okay with that. I'm just not okay with that. Okay, so I know now when it said Big Tank, you're going to turn right here. So if it would have been up in here, that's great. That's not that bad. But how far down Big Tank are you going? It says 14 miles. So literally, total is, let's say we're going to go through Big Tank Roadway. If you go Big Tank Roadway, from Valero to that property is 31 minutes, which is only 14 miles, but it's you can't go fast because it's all farm roads. So you're going to follow Big Tank Road, and then you're going to go down Big Tank Road for 10 miles. Like I said, now I didn't want to be more than 6 or 8 miles off of the highway. This is a major highway, or not a major, but it's a paved highway. I didn't want to be more than 6 or 8 miles off a paved road. That was just me. This is 10 miles off the paved road. So you can cut through here and make a left, or cut through here. This is what's going to be the problems is getting to your property over here when you got to go through these dirt roads, right? Because it's not going to be paved. So you can see what some of these are. And I'm a permaculture design student. So I graduate this month. So I can read kind of topography and maps and all that and tell how the land is and water, how water flows. This property, so these are roads and these are dirt roads. Who knows if the roads are clear or not? You won't never know until you go look at it. That's why somebody has to drive it. So you're going down Fence Line Road. I have seen that one before. You turn right here, cross that. This could be where it gets tricky. Those roads look like tiny roads, and you're crossing over a lot of different level terrain where it could wash out. And it's giving you an alternative way to go. And this is darker, so that means it gets more water. It gets wet. So that might be why that property is still for sale and they're giving you a buy one, get one 25% off because the terrain of where it is. That's a lot of, it's dark and it's greenery, it's wet. So if you look at this, all this is dry. That's just dirt, okay? Dry and dirt. But it gives you a different way. At least you have different roads. So if this road is washed out and you can't access it to go back to Big Tank, you could take that road and go. So that is one good thing about that property. Ching, it has 2 ways to access it. But just remember, it's still about a 25-minute drive off Big Tanks, and from when you make it here off this paved road, you 25 minutes off the paved road. And then to get to town right there is total of 31 minutes, so you just seat it how you want to. So yeah, if you look at the terrain on these, and you can look in Google Earth. I'm trying to see. These are some that I was looking at. That I drop pins at when I go look at properties, because it's you drop pins to know where you are, because you'll get lost out there if you lose service. And some people don't have phone service, so it's important to have AT&T or T-Mobile, Starlink, something where you're gonna have some service, because I've been out there looking for property with people and they didn't have no service, so I felt bad about that. But all right, let's go back. Okay, so if you wanted to do the deal, right, and that's what I did, save $9,000 by making a one-time principal payment of only $988. So let's say if you want to pay $988 down on this property, it will generate your contract. But it's not going to do it now because this property isn't for sale. But anyway, you would click one of those, or you don't have to click nothing, and you would just pay what it wanted to pay. Another thing is that looking at these ranch maps. So this is what I was telling you about, how they called it Blue Quail Ranch 1. It's like subdivisions. This is Big Tank Road. 10 is down here, right? I-10, that's the main highway going this way. Big Tank Road comes up and goes north. And you got to go down Big Tank Road to go to this property, which is way back there in the back. This is also a different way to access I-10 near Van Horn. And it gives you keys. So grassy area, grass is good. Grass means water too. So you have to be mindful of that. Water is good. Like I have grass on my property because I wanted, like I said, a permaculture design. So I want grass. I want to be able to have a garden and grow stuff. I didn't want just desert, sand, rocks, creosote, cactus, yucca. I wanted grass and all that kind of stuff. So you have to really know what you want. Some properties have power lines. So these properties through here are going to have access to power, which means they're going to cost more. So they'll be more of your $5.99 or $4.99 a month properties. And then mountains, there's definitely the mountains. All right, since they don't have any more, let's see if we can go to the other company. Okay, so now I'm at this one. This is who I went with at first, and they didn't have a website back then when I was looking, but now they're doing good. They got a website. So again, they showed me the wrong property. I walked it, got pissed off, and I went with a different company because I was mad about that. But anywho, they have a lot for sale. And I know from friends and people who have them, a lot of their property too is far off. It might take you 45 minutes down a dirt road off the paved road to get to their property. So you just have to know where you're buying, okay? Let's see. I'm not familiar with their website because remember they didn't have a website when I looked. So let's look at this together. All right. So this is their ranch map. They have different ones, and both companies have properties in the same ranches. So, but remember we looked at Blue Quail with the other company, Gunsight, Fabian, Sunset, Quitman, Mountain View. This is about going by 62 Cornudas. Remember where I looked at land, Antelope Acres? They got a 2 or 3. Dale City is another little town. Salt Flat. So it gives you an area, which is great. I'm glad they did this. Lone Star, good job. Good job. All right, so let's just click on one. Let's see. So they advertise 2 acres, 0 down payment, $260 a month. So they're a little cheaper than Sunset, but you got to think of why too. It's probably location terrain, landscape. I don't know. You won't know till you know. Again, these pictures are not going to be exactly of that property, I promise you. It will not. Nobody's going out there to all these properties in the desert taking pictures every 3 months or whatever to update it. They're just not going to do it. So they have all they have is 20 acres for sale right now, and they're all $260 a month. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 available. So let's just click the first one. Unit 6, track 14. Silver Spur. So I know where that is, and I know that takes 45 minutes from 10 to get to. It's beautiful out there. I know a lot of people who live out there. It's just, it was too far off the road for me, but it's beautiful. Like, oh my God, it's the skies out there are so beautiful. It's just far away. And you got to think about it. If you haul on water, do you have enough vehicle and trailer and tire and money to haul water 45 minutes one way? And not necessarily 45 minutes, maybe. No, yeah, it takes 45 minutes because you can only go about 20 miles an hour. And they're building a border out there too. I know a wall because I know people who live out there. But anyway, let's see what their ranch map looks like. Oh, that's what we already looked at. Let's go to information guide where they tell us about it. So this is a guide and they're all about the same. So you need to look at the rules that you can do. See, it's telling you 46 to 5,200 feet above sea level. They're telling you 300 days a year. It's telling you about, you got to look at the details. You do have water rights. So if you can afford a well that might cost $30,000 to $100,000 to dig a well that's 900 to 1,100 feet deep, which is about what they are in that area, or all the areas over here, well, over there, then yeah, you can do that. Utility easements. My friend has electricity on her property. Dirt roads have been built and maintained by seller. Well, they come out there maybe twice a year. If using land for livestock, you must put a cattle fence around. You agreed? Yep. So it gives you little stuff. People don't read this little stuff. Restrictive covenants. Because we don't have a lot of restrictions, but this is, and like I said, it's different for different, whoever you're buying it from. So here, no lot is to be used for dumping. Camping is permitted 4 times a year for no more than 30 days at a time. All buildings must be at least 150 feet from the center of adjoining roads. No structure or improvements, including fencing, may be on a road easement and must be at least 50 feet from the center of all 30 feet. No blasting. Hunting is only allowed on the lot purchased by the owner. So that's if you own it. Trailers, campers, motorhomes are permitted provided waste facilities are self-contained and disposed on a need basis. You can park RVs there. That's a key. Because people are out parking RVs on property and, they don't know the rules and da-da-da. I will say Hudspeth County is very lenient. They tell you when you buy it, you're supposed to have a septic tank. They also tell you that if you've got 20 acres or more, I think, or over 10, you can dispose of it how you want to. You build your own septic tank on your property. Before occupancy, any structures with plumbing facilities must have a septic tank with permit installed, approved, and inspected by the officials. Otherwise, An acceptable alternative, state-approved composting toilets are approved for use. Okay, so you can do that. So here's another thing, and this is the same with both companies. Upon 3 weeks' notice and within 12 months of purchase, right? So that's if you can't see it, but you gotta do it within the first year of owning the property. You would be offered a guided tour. You would tour the property. They'll mark out your stakes to show you your survey stakes. They won't go to the back of your 20. He's just gonna show you what's on the road that he can walk to, like the first 2. You have to use your maps and pinpoint and draw it out, which I learned how to do, to figure out where your back 2 corners should be at, because it's only 4 corners, right? They only show you the first 2 that's at the road. And sometimes it's hard to get to that, and if he can't find it, he'll tell you he can't find it, and they'll be like, either you hire a surveyor, and I think they charge like 3,000 per 20 acres for a surveyor to come out and just find those posts again, and it's crazy because they already marked it, it's just that the cow stomped it in the ground or you can't find it, so you gonna pay that much money for them to come out and do it, just put 4 corners again? No, you might as well hire a professional, real surveyor to come out and mark all of it. But whatever. That's up to you. That's up to preference. I did not pay additional to have mine marked because I found all 4 of my posts myself. He showed me the first 2 and I found the other 2 and I just connected the dots. That's 4 corners. Um, they tell you about defaults, all that stuff. It tells you that 1 home per 20-acre lot is permitted until property is paid in full. All that stuff, whatever. So that is some of the rules, and this is the contract. So if you buy this property, this is what your sales agreement will look like. It'll have the information. This is what you give to Ann at the GIS office, so she will give you your 911 address, and you have to fill out a little application, and it's free, and then you do that. And once you have your 911 address, you take that to the post office. They'll give you a free mailbox. Well, mine was free because you don't have a mailbox on your property. So the price, they give you the interest, all that stuff, the total payments, and how much it takes to pay over how many years. And it used to let you generate it, but I don't see it anymore. Um, I had one. Let me see if I can find it. I'll show you a sample one of what I did of my old one. Because, like I said, I get it back. Okay. It's this one. Okay. This is mine. This is mine that I gave back. Antelope Acres. Okay. So, oop, let's not show all of that. We got to cross that out. But anywho, we're going to act like we don't see that. Okay. Let's just zoom in and get this off the screen. All right. Zoom out. Okay. So this is what it looks like. It says the properties described above, gives you the section. That's what I was going to buy. It was 48 acres. I said 60. It was 48 that I gave back because he showed me the wrong 48 property. 48 acres. Um, The price was 59.5. That's how much I was gonna finance. The finance charge on top of that was gonna be 56,000. Total payments that you pay back if you wait and pay 261 months. If you only paid $445 a month at 7% interest, that's the total payments. You would have been paying back $115,800 for the land that's 59,000 because that's interest, right? So that's land, 7% interest is kind of high, but kind of not because it's owner financing. Some people charge you owner financing, you're going to get 5, 6, 3, 10, or no interest. But that's just the price you got to pay for owner finances. So for $59,000 loan for your land, and this is just land only, if you wait and only pay $445 a month for 261 months, you'll be paying a total back of $115,830. All right. That's an example of that. So,